to the $100,000 Handshake. I'm your host, Steve Hopper, and I want to personally thank you for tuning in as we have a very exciting show lined up for you today. The $100,000 Handshake is all about business and personal development, sharing with you success principles that will inspire you and empower you to accomplish whatever it is that your heart desires. I'm going to be sharing with you professionals that have not only reached pinnacles of success in their careers, but they have impacted many lives along the way. And I am extremely excited to have our guest with us here today, Larry, the champion builder. Guys, let me tell you a little bit about Larry. Larry is an unbelievable entrepreneur, author, business coach. He's a certified digital marketer. This is a guy who has been on the internet, in the marketplace, offline, online, just impacting lives all over the place. And I'm excited to have him here today because today's topic is teach more, earn more. That's today's topic. And Larry, welcome to the show, bro.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Steve.
So Larry, let's talk a little bit about your background for a minute. Let everybody kind of know where you come from, a little bit about your story and how you kind of have progressed to the place you're at right now.
I like to call myself the real Larry the Cable Guy. I used to do cable installation in Ohio for about 10 years. That was back a long time ago. In '08, I decided to get out of the cable. I had a bout with electricity and almost got, zapped.
Wow.
So I decided to change careers and got into a real estate office. And shortly after that, I got downsized. It was towards the end of the real estate mortgage crash. You might remember that. Maybe participate. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But so in that space of time, I was struggling to take care of my wife and our 5 kids at the time, and ended up going to McGraw-Hill to work at a call center for $9 an hour just to eat.
Wow.
In the middle of that, I was online looking for ways to make money and came across an email from a lady who invited me to come take a look at this video about how you can make money online. I decided to look at the video, and I believed it. I just needed to believe it, so I did believe it. And I decided to try this marketing system for $1 back in 2009, March of 2009. Guy gave him $1. I got a phone call a couple days later from the lady who sent the email and another guy named Cedric. And they got on the phone with me and convinced me that I should give their system a try. And so I did. I gave their system a try. And I didn't know anything about internet marketing, generating leads online, any of that. I was totally green to it. But I took it seriously. And by the next month, I think I had a $30 check or something like that. And I got the check and I teared up because it was for me.
Did you frame that check, bro?
I didn't frame it. I should have probably.
You should have framed it.
But I wasn't thinking like that because
Right.
I wasn't thinking about being a business owner. I wasn't thinking about being an internet marketer. All the terms I know now. I was just thinking about, when my kids yank the refrigerator door, they don't want excuses. They want food.
That's right.
So that $30 check was going towards something like food. So anyway, that's how I started. And I got real committed to doing videos online, writing articles online. And several months later, I got really solid at generating leads for this marketing system on LinkedIn. And when at the time, LinkedIn was not really well known for people in a home-based business getting leads. So I found a niche and got some popularity from that because I was on a leaderboard in this marketing system. September of that year, they invited me to do a webinar. I did the webinar. 1,000 people or so were on the webinar.
Wow.
I released an ebook for $37 and it blew up my PayPal account. So many people bought it in 2 hours. So that was kind of the beginning of my career. Then later on that year, I got involved in a network marketing company that was dealing in precious metals, became their top producer in the state of Ohio at the time. And then I ended up relocating to Florida about 8 months later. So from March of '09, having lost my job and not really knowing what I was going to do, to July of 2010, I'm relocating to Florida with my family and having a lifestyle upgrade was pretty much kind of like the beginning of my run as an online marketer.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, guys, let me tell you something. This guy has a plethora of knowledge, and I've done a lot of events. Larry, you're one of my go-to guys. So when I put on seminars, Larry is definitely one of the people that I try to get involved in my seminars because he brings so much knowledge and expertise to the table. And Larry, I want to talk about something, being that our theme here today is teach more, earn more. We could call it teach more, sell more.
Right.
We could call it teach more, sell less if we wanted to. We could name this so many things today. But one of the things that you talk about, which I'm gonna share this with everybody right now, is called teachvertise. Now, I know that sounds a little bit funny, right? And I know the first few times that I said it, I kind of got tongue-tied with it. Teachvertise. What does teachvertise mean? Well, tell them a little bit about teachvertise.
Going back to my beginning as an internet marketer in the beginning, the foundation of how I was able to leave obscurity and to have some notoriety is because I was doing videos that educated. I did articles that instructed. I did things that trained people on how to be better, smarter, stronger, whatever they were trying to do. And I used that as opposed to trying to pitch and sell and promote me and different things like that. So what happened is I started to create an audience. And the audience decided it seemed like every time I did anything, they'd show up. And I started to realize that more people want to be trained and educated and taught than pitched and sold and convinced.
Yeah.
So I started using that approach years ago. And even today, it's probably the smartest way for anybody to market anything on or offline.
Right.
So when I say teachvertise, I came up with that word because I want people to hear teaching as a way of advertising. In other words, make me better.
Right.
As a consumer, if you're, for example, a car mechanic, don't just continuously talk about how many deals I can get, what your specials are. If I happen to be a single woman who wants to take a car into a place to get an oil change, teach her how to know if her oil was even changed. Where's the dipstick? Pull a dipstick out. Here's how you know. Yeah. Teach. That's what I mean by teach. If you're a real estate agent, rather than walk around a community, and there's nothing wrong with that, walking around a community and passing out flyers and all that, but instead, why not go ahead and educate people on such things as this top 7 questions you should ask a real estate agent before you even hire one. So that's what I mean by teachvertise. Right. Get into a posture where your education, your knowledge, what you walk around with as your everyday knowledge in your market or your business in the marketplace, you use that as marketing. You use that as advertising. And if you're paying attention, especially on Facebook, a lot of the best ads that are ran are ads leading someone to some kind of education. They start off with a little tip, then it leads you to continue the conversation somewhere else because there's greater education to be gained. Right. So that's what I mean by teachvertise. Use teaching as an advertisement, and you'll find yourself generating more of a larger audience. And then from that audience, you'll cultivate clients and buyers.
Yes. Now, a lot of people in the marketplace are, they're doing this offline. So they're out in the marketplace and they're talking to people, they're going to networking events, et cetera, and they're doing the same thing. I mean, they're standing up, they're pitching people, they're trying to sell to everybody in the room. They're not really using the time that they have when they are at the front of the room to educate people, to teach people. So talk a little bit about that. Like, I'm walking into a networking event and I've got 50 business owners in that networking event, and I have their attention, and I've got an opportunity. Maybe at some venues you got an opportunity to get up and talk for 30 seconds, maybe a minute, etc. How should I use that minute that I have their attention for when it comes to teachvertising? Give me one example of what I could do.
I was at an event recently, and they did just what you talked about. You go around the room and you do your little 30-second commercial or whatever. But instead of me doing that, I went straight into talking about a Google Chrome extension called IFB, which gives you the ability to invite your friends to an event like that instantaneously without having to go invite. So I took my 30 seconds to actually provide them access to a resource that would make their lives easier. And then instantaneously, I stood out from the crowd.
Right.
Because I did a teachvertise moment. Here is a tool, here's a resource that can help you get where you want to go. So by and large, focusing on how can I answer a known question based upon what I do? How can I answer or solve a known problem? How can I relieve a known pain? That's what I would say would be the best approach versus my name's Larry Beacham. I'm in digital marketing. You can find my website here. Nobody got better from that.
Right.
But if I take a moment and prepare myself and say, what can I truly say that will make a difference? Can I invite them to go and take a look at a software that can relieve pain, solve problems? Right. Can I have them, download a demonstration of something I'm doing? What can I do to really make the business owner better? And that is the focus. And if you can master that 30-second little message can turn into a lunch, it can turn into whatever, but you continue the conversation in that same manner.
Right. So in other words, like for me, as an example, I have a public speaking seminar coming up very soon. So when I'm out in the market, or if I'm online, I should be talking about some tips for people to get better at public speaking. So I may stand up at a networking venue and give a tip, an insider tip, that maybe a lot of people don't know about public speaking, a tip that could help you get better at public speaking, and then utilize that to bring value to the people so they're coming to me at the end. They're wanting to know more. And then when I obviously offer a public speaking workshop, they're probably going to want to come to it. Is that kind of the concept you got here?
Absolutely. You think about if you have a room of people in this example who are looking to get into speaking or become better, it would only make sense that you give them a tip to do that. So that is the foundation of it all. Is I know the room well enough to know what would I give them that can make them smarter or better than they were before they came. Now, my business card is not necessarily going to accomplish that, nor my website address isn't necessarily going to accomplish that. However, if on my business card or on my website I am giving you something that can make you better, then that is the goal.
Yeah.
That's the point.
So Larry has a few steps here on how to teach-vertise properly, and we're going to give those to you after the break. He doesn't know that yet. He charges big money to teach this to people, but because he is on the $100,000 Handshake show today, he's going to give it to you free of charge. Stay tuned after the break. We're going to get that structure that Larry has for teach-vertise. We'll see you in a minute.
Ever need a doctor after hours? Well, searching won't help. But what do? You could go to the urgent care or ER, but if only there was a better way. Introducing the MNO Plus card. No waiting rooms, no copay, no consultation fee, giving you 24/7 access to a doctor by phone or online. It's easy to get started with affordable plans starting at $15 a month for a family of 5. For more information, visit mnoplus.com today.
81% of consumers search online before even setting foot in a store. We help you create a strong foundation for your digital reputation. We help build your online presence to improve search engine rank and make sure your business information is correct across the web. You could do all of this on your own, but why would you spend more than 300 hours a year working on this? You have a business to run. Save time and put our software to work for you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the $100,000 Handshake. I am here with Larry, the champion builder, and we're talking about teaching more to earn more today on the $100,000 Handshake. And Larry has an awesome concept. He's taught it at a few of my events, and you're getting it here on the show today, and it's called Teach-Vertise. Now, we talked a little bit about the break, about how important it is for people to utilize education as a means to build their list, get credibility in the marketplace, really brand themselves as an expert both online and offline. And as we promised before the break, you've got a little system here set up. You've got 6 steps when it comes to structuring a Teach-Vertise infomercial at a networking event or a video that you're going to shoot online. So we're going to share those to people. I know that you charge big money to teach this to people. So the fact that you're willing to give this to them today here on the $100,000 Handshake just brings a lot of value to them. So number 1 is ask a question or make a statement. So talk a little bit about that. So they're getting up at a networking event or they're shooting a video online to utilize this Teach-Vertise. See, there it is again, Teach-Vertise concept. So the first thing they're going to do is ask a question or make a statement. Talk a little bit about that.
What you're basically doing there is you're qualifying the audience. How many of you have ever hired a real estate agent and only to find out later they were poorly qualified to sell your house?
Okay.
That's a question. A statement would be 43% of people who hire a real estate agent hire the wrong agent because they didn't do the right things to know if they were the right real estate agent for them. So that's the first step, is you want to qualify the audience either with a question or an actual statement, whichever you feel comfortable with. And that sort of helps you to divide the audience between those that are qualified to listen and those that are not. You're going to include and exclude all at the same time. So I need to make sure that whoever I'm speaking to knows I'm talking to them. That's first.
Well, you're also in that statement or in that question, you're also kind of already introducing the pain.
Correct.
Which is something you're going to focus on in the beginning. So whatever that pain is in your industry, what's another example besides realtors for a pain maybe that somebody's experiencing?
Well, besides selling the house, it could be, besides hiring a realtor, it could be selling the house itself.
Okay.
You know, there could be a blind spots that they had when they went to sell their house. How many of you have ever went to sell a house, had 6, 7 people walk through, look like they were qualified, but yet nobody bid on the house?
Right.
That's another qualifying statement, or I should say question. The statement would be, in most cases, there's something that is something that's repelling the buyer that most sellers are blind to.
Right.
Right. So what is that one thing? What is that?
Yeah.
Those two things? And
So for you, as a digital marketer, as an expert, somebody that coaches people in their business on social media marketing and all that kind of stuff. So one of the pains that you may come up with is, winging it on social media when it comes to running ads or something
Definitely.
like that. So number 2 is you're going to emphasize on the pain.
Right.
So talk about that.
So now I have your attention. You may say, yeah, Larry, I'm the guy that hired a real estate agent that sucked last time.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea now is to help them understand what exactly happened. Well, here's what happened. You had a divorce come up and you had to move really quickly. And because you had to move really quickly, you decided to basically call the agent that you saw in the last TV commercial that you had. And so now that happened, you had this happen, that happened, and that happened. So it's an awareness of the process that the person goes through in their pain. The pain is, I hired them. I can't get them on the phone. When they came to list the house, they weren't properly prepared. I did my own research and figured out that I was underpricing the house. So you press on the pain enough for the person to really appreciate that you understand them well enough to know that you're on the path to solving the problem.
Yeah, fantastic. So we're emphasizing the pain in step 2, and then step 3, you're going to tell a story that's just going to kind of validate what you're talking about, right?
Right. So, and I kind of hit that a second ago, but really it's a matter of either a personal story or a story you can relate. Mm-hmm. I have, for example, if I'm a real estate agent, I may say the last person that I hired, they were very negative towards me when I first sat down to talk to them. And as I got to engage, I learned that they hired a real estate agent who didn't do certain things that they felt were necessary to sell the house, and it caused them to have a sore spot kind of thing. I may relate a personal story. I may relate a story I heard somewhere else. The point of the story is people lean into stories.
Yeah.
Most people lean away from bullet points,
Right.
especially if
Yeah.
you lead with bullet points.
Yeah.
So if you can tell a story that includes words that describe pain, you articulate that they were stressed, they were tearing up, they couldn't sleep at night. Whatever the pain might be relative to, whether the descriptive words are relative to the pain, you want to throw those into the story.
Right.
Because the next thing is why you tell the story.
Right. So number 4 is you're going to teach from the story.
Right. This is where the magic happens. This is why we call it teachvertising. Because once I get you to this place and you're relating to my pain, it's now time to teach you on how to fix this once and for all. So back to the real estate example. So here are the 3 things that you need to do before you ever consider hiring a real estate agent. And you give them the 3 things, whatever those 3 things may be. That is teaching them what to do next. If back to the car mechanic from earlier, same thing. Before you go in and actually let a car mechanic touch your car, here are the 3 or 4 things you need to be aware of when you walk through the front door. Look for this, ask about that, this, that, and the other. Whatever it might be, teach them how to be better the next time they decide to do it. And that is no matter if they hire you or not. This is about goodwill more than it is anything else. Right. A lot of times people hear me say this and they get nervous that they're going to give away too much. It's impossible to give away too much,
right.
Especially in a tip.
Yeah.
But what you want to do is you want to magnetically draw people because you're feeding them with true value. And the magic to that is every time from that point on that you show up to the marketplace, they're going to remember the last time you made them better.
Right.
And so they have that expectation that you'll do it again. And if you do it again, you really got them.
Right. And again, it goes to the law of reciprocity. If you're constantly giving people valuable information, you're not charging them for that information. You're just making them better. Then ultimately, they're going to want to do business with you. People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. People also want to do business with experts.
Right.
So what you're doing with Teachvertise is you're really branding yourself in the marketplace
right.
as an expert, and people want to do business with that. Now, number 4 was teach from the story. Number 5 is you're going to give them the benefits of applying what you've just taught them and what it's going to do for them, basically.
Right. So you want to basically paint the picture. you want to say, once you implement what I just taught you, here's what's going to happen. It's like basically convincing me to plant a tree in my backyard that has a lot of big leaves. Well, what does that do for me?
Right.
It gives me shade. It keeps me cool. You follow me?
Yeah.
You want to tell them what are the benefits of applying those principles so that they never have to worry about having that pain they had before. So we go from talking about your pain, or bringing up the pain, pressing on the pain a little bit, painting a picture, teaching you what to do, and then telling you what will happen once you actually do it.
Yeah.
Because you want people to engage emotionally into what you're saying.
Right.
If they can see themselves getting that result, then they're going to be more inclined to want you to help them get it. Or whenever they come to a point where they need that solution applied, you'll be the expert that they call upon to help them implement it.
That's right. And then last is your call to action.
So this is funny right here, because whenever a person, if they don't understand this part, when they create content, here's what they'll end with: have a nice day. And that's not ever good. You always want to tell a person what you need them to do next.
Right.
I've seen so many videos and articles written where they just sign off. But you have to have what I call the continuation of the conversation. If I'm giving you a tip on how to pick a real estate agent, then the next logical step would be go to my website and download my full-blown guide, or go to my YouTube channel and subscribe, go to my Facebook channel and like my business page, contact me for a free consultation. Whatever your key call to action is, make sure it's there. Don't ever not include that. Here's what I always tell everybody. Don't ever create a dead end for your message or your money. And the dead end would be not having a call to action. I just smacked right into a wall there as a person listening to you. So always continue the conversation. Give me somewhere else to go, something else to do, something to download, something to consume, something to show up to. Always keep the conversation going, but it's about the call to action.
We're going to stick on this point number 6 here for just a minute, bro, because I see it all the time. You know, as a master networker, being out in the field, offline, shaking hands, going to events all the time. I hear business professionals, they get up and they put together this cool infomercial at the networking event, and everybody laughs. Maybe it's a funny commercial. You could tell that they've spent a little time putting it together, but at the end, they finish it off with, so if you're ever in the need for, we're going to stick with realtors. So if you're ever in the need to buy a house, call me. And that's not really a call to action that we're looking for, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to build our list. You and I, before the show, were talking about list building a little bit and how powerful it is, and how when you get a big enough audience, you know, sky's the limit. You can do so many things when you have enough people that are following you, when you've grown your network to that place. So the call to action at the end needs to be very targeted. It needs to be very focused on building that list, right? You're giving them this value, not just to necessarily give value.
Right.
You want to use this value to ultimately build your list, right?
Yes, and so as you said, the call to action you described that they would normally do is a version of a call to action, but it's not structured properly.
Right.
It needs to be structured as the continuation of the conversation. In other words, what I just gave you, let's go further with this.
Right.
To build a list, the easiest thing I always tell someone is, if you want to build a list, give a list.
Yeah.
And so in this example, we're talking about the 3 tips. Well, they can go to the website and say, here are the 9 steps to hire a real estate agent. I gave you the first 3, the other 6 are over here. So there's actually 9 things you need to do. So the list, the 9 is the list. So give a list to get a list. People love to get lists of things. You follow me?
Right.
If you're, you pick an industry, I don't know, maybe a person is a public speaker, and you're a person that wants to train public speakers. Give them a list, a directory of organizations that are always looking for speakers.
Right.
That's a list.
Yep.
You give a list to get a list. Know your audience well enough to know what you can feed them, and that's the most important thing. And it doesn't matter the business. There's a company up here in Florida, I forget the name of it, but they grew their business by over 6 figures by giving away a guide on how to clean floors, because they're a flooring company. So they gave away a guide on just how to care for the floor. Whatever, wood, laminate, ceramic tile, they had a list of things that you could actually do, or I should say list of types of floors, and they just gave that guide away. And they grew by 6 figures because nobody else in the marketplace was doing it that way.
Right.
Does that make sense? So,
Absolutely.
So when we do this call to action, it has to be strategic. You have to be thinking before you even create the content, what do I need to do strategically to keep this going?
Right.
I need them to now take another step, which, as you said, list building is a whole different show. It's a whole different concept,
right.
But it's an important topic here because it is relevant. And without that call to action, it's going to be hard to do that.
Well, when we do the 2-day seminar for the $100,000 handshake, the 2-day intensive where people come in and we are physically spending 2 days with them. And it's a high level seminar where we're really digging into people's businesses and teaching them some serious concepts. One of the things that we talk about is when it comes to your networking is, most people are out there, they're focused on selling, they're focused on getting new clients, etc. What they need to be focused on, what your focus needs to be, is becoming an expert, branding yourself as an expert in the market. So as you're watching this show today, here's what I want you to do. I want you to sit down, I want you to grab a piece of paper, I want you to lay out these 6 steps for your business. What is a problem? What is a problem that your clients are facing? What is maybe a pain related to your industry? Write that pain down. Ask a question or make a statement regarding that pain. Number 2, emphasize that pain. Then you're going to tell a story. You're going to teach from that story. You're going to give benefits to them, applying obviously to what you've taught. And then at the end, you're going to create a call to action. Very, very important that you start structuring things this way, utilizing it on video. Obviously, if you're offline and you're doing it at a networking event, you may not have the 2 to 3 minutes that you're going to do on a video online. So you're going to have to really critique this down. You may just give them 1 point instead of 3. But wow, what an amazing concept, man. Hey, if y'all wrap your brain around this, let me tell you something. You're going to start growing your list like crazy. People are going to be looking to you as the expert in the market in your industry. So Larry, wow, what great nuggets. What I always do on this show is when I have successful people like you who come on this show, who have something to give, here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell everybody right now what your number 1 key to success is. What is your number 1 key to success?
Mentorship.
Mentorship.
It's number 1, hands down, no question. Having somebody that I'm afraid when they call my phone to pick it up, and I say that because there's enough pressure there for me to want to be excellent. Too many people hide behind their computers, they hide behind their flaws or weaknesses. They won't allow themselves to be exposed. So no matter how much I might read or train or learn, a mentor who is standing in my blind spot, who is not afraid to challenge me, to call my bluff, you know what I mean? To say, let me see, I had a mentor say, let me see your bank account balance right now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, most people won't open themselves up to that because we're weak and flabby by nature. We want to be lazy. And so having a mentor or mentors is going to be, if you had to put your last dollar into anything right now, I'd say a mentor.
Yeah.
Hands down. Have somebody breathing down your neck, somebody that won't allow you to be who you are today. They're challenging you, without question. That's it.
Awesome. You got a mentor. I got a mentor. Do you have a mentor? If you don't, put that on your priority list immediately. And Larry, thank you so much for being here today, bro.
My pleasure, man.
God bless you, man. And y'all, hey, go shake somebody's hand today, because you never know if it's the handshake that's going to impact their life or impact your life. Go make it happen. God bless. We'll see you on the next show.